All right, Steve. So it's been quite a few weeks since we sat down and then you did an interview or a podcast, rather just the two of us. We've had quite a few guests come on. That's been pretty exciting. Had some pretty awesome conversations with other young people. It's been great. But it's always nice to be able to talk, just us two, and be able to talk about what's God's doing in our life, what's new with us. So I guess let's talk about that. What's new with you? It's probably been over a month since we did a podcast. Just us. Anything new that you want to mention, or anything that God's been teaching you lately?
Um, one thing that's one thing that's new, it's kinda not spiritual.
Yeah.
I just hit a new weight. Um, it's the heaviest I've ever weighed.
Are you
So I'm pretty
bulking right now?
yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. Actually, I had a goal. I'm just gonna look this up real quick. I had a goal.
It's like a gym goal that you set for,
Yeah.
I assume, like the new year. Ginger 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, it probably helps with your leg because you tore your ACLs. For people that might not know that,
Yeah.
tore ACL in what, January, sometime.
Yeah, so 7 it's been about I think it's been about 17 weeks-ish, give or take probably a couple days, 'cause I just don't I just did a quit look.
Oh, more.
But, my goal was a pound a week for 30 weeks, and that was bulking, obviously going to the gym, eating right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I the crazy thing is I tore the ACL in January, so I've been, like, a lot I've been not as mobile, but, like, less in the gym. So, what's thankfully, is crazy because I was actually average, like, almost 2 pounds a week initially, so I had, like, time to burn with that, so but it is encouraging because, it's a goal that I had in mind, and I'm kinda seeing some fruit from that.
Right.
Obviously, it's not all muscle, it's not supposed to be, at least right now, so I'll have a cutting phase later.
Yeah. On the jutes, you're learning more about your routine when it comes to working out, bulking, things like that, or and stuff there. So that's cool. And what's the update with the leg with the ACL surgery?
Yeah, so, March 17th, is when I get surgery, so there will be a full reconstruction. I'll be out for a few months. By out, I mean I'll be somewhat it'll be a process. So, like, in the beginning, first few, maybe 4 to 6 weeks, so it's really, like, minimal activity, and then just as it gets stronger, just trying to go to therapy and
Yeah.
get strength back in, so
Okay.
don't worry about
So yeah, I mean, definitely something people can pray for and try to keep in my prayers more as well for that. And anything else God's been teaching you through that? I'm sure there's probably a lot of things new. I mean, you're not doing things always to do, So anything you've been learning as a result of tearing your ACL.
like, what's a obstacle like this? Like, I think I mentioned it before, I don't even know if I was talking about my knee, but, um, like, one thing that I've been seeing more so is the fact that, the opportunity is found inside of the challenge, and so basically, like, when there's a man, you could get even really broad. You could talk about every trial, every test, every temptation, every hardship that you face. There's always an opportunity. The Bible also talks about a way of escape when it comes to sin. There's always an opportunity to learn, to grow. There's always something God's trying to teach you. So I said to say, you do with something like this. I was like, man, this really sucks. Like, I do landscaping in the summer. Like, how is this going to work out? I need to make money. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, "You know what? I think this is gonna give me some opportunities, and I just need to be aware. I just need to start opening my eyes." And it's funny because within, I don't know, maybe like 2 weeks later, John, our brother John, basically came to me and he's like, "Dude, I was talking to this guy at the gym, and he was like, 'I'm looking for a guy to do work,' and it was like remote work. And I was like, man, like, the offer itself was something I'd kind of been praying about as far as getting into that career, yeah, somewhat. So I was like, dude, this is perfect because if I'm gonna be out for a few months, I'm gonna need something to help me, yeah, still make money. Um, so that being said, like, just opportunities of that got starting to bring my way. And, I think that it's just a different perspective that I'm having with it. And it's still a challenge at times. It's gonna be more of a challenge once I get the surgery because right now
Yeah.
I can use my leg, I can, be active to a certain extent. But um So yeah, that's definitely one thing I'm learning is whatever hardship I'm going through, whatever obstacle I'm facing, there is a special nugget of opportunity that God and a lesson that God was going to learn. And I think many times I was telling this to the teens actually. I think many times we pray and we say, God, I want to have more grace. God, I want to be an individual that trusts you more. I want to be successful. I want to have this or that or whatever. I want this job opportunity. We go to God and we ask these things of him. And then it's like when God sends us a trial, we're like, oh God, you don't care about me. Where are you? We're surprised and we're like, I'm all depressed and God's not in the picture and what's going on and I'm confused. But I think that that's oftentimes how God will answer our prayers. I genuinely believe that. I think that God will sometimes send us an obstacle for us to overcome, but there's something inside of that that is the answer to our prayer. It's like if you pray for faith, what is God going to do? Just like give you faith? Like that's not how it works, right? So I guess an opportunity to trust Him. If we pray for strength or for grace, whatever thing we're asking God, God many times that gives us a hardship to rely on him to get to overcome that. And so I think that many times I just think it's interesting. Like I prayed many prayers in my life and have had many trials, but haven't ever had this perspective really. And I think that it's changing because it's actually it's a different way of looking at it and it's more rewarding. Like as you're going through the obstacle, like, hey, there's something here to be looking for. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the harder the challenge, the better the story you can tell us, and the more experience you can have as a result of that, and the more that you can improve yourself as a result of the lessons that you learn from that difficult challenge.
yeah.
So you're definitely something that's not natural for us to like challenges or to run towards them. It's quite a weird thing, but I think that if you can get more accustomed to it, you can get used to embracing challenges and difficulties and even at times seeking them out. Just
Yeah.
depending on what it is. Like in your case, you might be seeking out a different line of work. You might be looking into something that you've never done before. Yeah, because of your situation, like something like that could be a great opportunity. And it might not seem natural, but maybe that's something that God wants you to do as a result of the situation you're in. But yeah, absolutely. And I would say for me, a couple things I've been learning. I would say the main thing is just to keep staying faithful. Like lately, health issues have been a little bit worse. Things have been not improving like I want to. I've been doing more supplements and different treatments for about a month and a half, and that's changed my symptoms and just really everything's just a little bit different as a result of that. And so it is what it is. I just have to, although I'm feeling worse, more tired and things like that, I still have to stay faithful, do what I know I need to do with business, pursue of truth, ministry at church, relationships. Like, life has to still go on. You still have to find a way to make it work and do what you need to do and be able to fulfill responsibilities. So, and then I guess in addition to that is just staying faithful with my relationship with God. Like still making sure that I'm working on that. I'm reading my Bible and praying every day, even though like everything's harder, like everything's more challenging. Just staying faithful, and I think that that's something that I just feel like God's taught me recently. Like just stay faithful. Like I know, and I think God's in a way He's kind of showed me like I know that you're struggling, going through what we're saying, but you just stay faithful. Like eventually you'll be better for it. Yeah, things are going to be okay. I'm just having a more laid back approach, even though things are worse, which is never a good feeling. Like in your case, like you're maybe taking a step back or you're doing worse, and like, oh no, like I'm not progressing like I want to. I'm not doing the things I want to, but being able to just take a step back and just kind of go with the flow and understand there's a process. Like my story is not going to be all good things. There's going to be ups and downs with it. I'm just you're trusting God that He has a plan with everything. There's a lesson to learn from all these difficult things. And then aside from that, I would say there's a lot of challenges that I have with like adapting, being able to adapt and make changes with my business or changes with my scheduling, how I do things. So I've learned a little bit of how to be able to adapt and be resourceful, which is something that's super important as an entrepreneur and just being, successful in different areas. You got to be resourceful, being able to do more with less. I've always done more with less because of like health issues and challenges for a while. Like I've just had to do that, but I'm learning even more how to do more with less. So that's a good thing, even though it's very frustrating that I have even less now. Let's like results in health. But not being able to do less with or being able to do more with less time. Sure. Being able to do more with less energy, being able to do more with less clarity of mind. Like like, for example, for me, having a harder time with energy and thinking and talking and communicating and getting stuff done. But although all those things are harder and more of a challenge, I feel like I have less time because I have less energy in order to do more with what I have.
But, like, what keeps you, like, seeking, like, a better way of doing things? What keeps you, like, on that path to be like, "Yeah, this sucks, but I'm gonna overcome."
Because of my vision, I mean, I gotta figure out a way to make it work. So it doesn't matter how I feel, it doesn't matter if things get worse or if like different things come up in my life or in the business or pursuit of truth or whatever, ministry, like things come up, but you still have to follow the plan, not live by emotion, stick to the plan, do what you know you need to do. And although you know might only be able to make adjustments to the point where you're doing a little bit more with less, like although it might be discouraging, like still just always trying to, I guess, push that limit,
Mhm.
trying to push the bar further up as to what's possible. Always trying to push my limits, I guess, if that makes sense, with a reason. So
Do you feel like you were at one point, like, struggled a lot with, I guess just, like, getting the most out of your situation? Like, what do you like, what's that journey been like?
I mean, it's really just a journey of taking responsibility. I think that I didn't at times, probably for I'd say it's been over 11 years with health issues, maybe 8 out of those 11. I wasn't really taking much responsibility. And so obviously I wasn't really pushing my limits as much as I am now the last couple of years as I've been taking on more and more responsibility for my problems, my life, my issues, and being able to take ownership and say like ultimately my life is the way that it is, and I am the way that I am because of myself. Like it's my fault, and it's my responsibility to improve things. And it can be a spiritual thing too. Like my relationship with God depends on me and my ability, or not my ability, but my willingness to draw nigh to God, get closer to Him. Like draw nigh to God, draw nigh to God, and He will draw nigh to you. Like God's waiting on us. I think a lot of times to want to have that relationship and take that step towards Him so that He can run to us and have that improved relationship and closeness to God. So I think it just comes down to personal responsibility, and then from there, if everything's your fault, you're automatically going to think, okay, what can I do or what should I be doing to improve whatever situation you're going through? So, and like to be like another interesting thing when it comes to adapting, I I'm at the point where it's like, okay, volume isn't where it needs to be as far as like outreach for the business, like calling landlords and things like that. Kind of long story short. So I'm not making enough contacts. Not getting enough leads contacted. So I'm like, I need to hire some help. I need to buy back my time. That you need a book for entrepreneurship. How to Buy Back Your Time, Dan Martell, super good book. So I'm reading this book. All right, I need to buy back some more of my time, take a little bit of money, start paying somebody to help me out. So found someone in the Philippines that could do different tasks that I'm looking to offload because I don't need to be doing certain things. Someone else could do it. So I hire this dude basically as a VA, virtual assistant slash appointment setter, and he didn't even last a day. So he literally, I onboarded him. I spent a lot of it would have been a lot, actually, like a lot of this week. I spent onboarding him, training him some time, even last week, connecting with this guy. And then finally figure out how to like train somebody, how to hire somebody, and how to onboard somebody. So I go through all this process of like all this new stuff. And then he's like about to start work. I had just like sent him the contract over and he signed it. And then that night, then like he sent me a message like, hey, like I got another offer that's gonna pay me more. So like this isn't gonna work type thing. It was like, whatever, man. So then I'm like, well, like that sucks. And it's annoying. But then I don't know, like it's almost just like if it's gonna be funny eventually, like it might as well just be funny now. Like I know it sounds weird, but something I got from Alex Hormozy that's helped me with my mindset and perspective. So I just took it as like whatever, like there's nothing I can do about it. And there's probably somebody better that I could hire. And there's probably
Well,
something I can learn from this.
yeah, then so you've probably learned a lot too, just the process and
Yeah, and to that point, like I learned how to find someone to hire. I learned the like hiring process, interview process, onboarding process, what they need to know, like roles and responsibilities, KPI, yeah, key performance indicators, like what does success look like working with me, working on the team. So I was able to figure out all this stuff and establish all these things and have it all written out. So then I just found somebody else I had been in contact for a couple weeks. And initially, I thought that this person wouldn't be a good fit, but then I was able to rethink things and I had a different perspective because of this bad thing that happened. And I'm like, actually, I just need, I just need this person for like fewer tasks than I thought, and so they were good. So they were a good fit for it. So I basically reached out to them and quickly hired them, quickly onboarded this person much quicker. It was a much quicker process because I had known a little bit more what I'm doing because of talking to this other guy. You know what I mean? And then I was like, I need someone else to help me with just one or two other things. So I was able to onboard him, hired him rather quickly. So like I was able to basically make something good out of something bad. And now I'm like, yeah, I like this new BA better. And I like how I'm doing things where I have like one person just calling people appointment setting. And then I have another person that's more like my assistant, a VA, who's just basically managing a couple things. So it's just a better thing overall. I'm feeling much better about it. It's just like things are better. But it was just like annoying. And it's just like a good story. It's out this point. It's like whatever, it's fine. So that's something I learned when it comes to just being able to adapt. Like, yeah, it's super important to be able to adapt and have the right mindset and perspective on things.
Yeah.
And just trying to always think like, all right, how can I make this bad thing a good thing? That I know Jocko has a video, Jocko Luring, just called Good. And he would have people come to him. He's a commander in the Navy SEALs, and people would come to him with problems, and he would say, "Good, that's a good thing," because that means that, like, okay, like you got injured, well, good, like you're gonna be able to have to learn other things as a result of your injury, or hey, like we didn't get this deal. It's like that's a good thing. Like there's a better deal that we are supposed to get, right? So it's just having that perspective of like bad things are good if you choose to find the lesson in the challenge and learn from it to be a better person as a result of it.
Yeah.
So that's something that I've been learning, like literally, I would say, yeah, this week and last week to a higher level. So, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I just thought I would share that something new with me. Those are the main things that are new with me.
And I think that's really the key to perspective and focus. Like, even in your Christian life, like maintaining that and, where focus, where your focus is, the energy will end up flowing. I know Tony Robbins has a quote similar to that, but I say it to say, like, if you're focused on stuff that doesn't matter, you're going to end up spending time on that. And that's going to be a waste of time. If you're focused on the right things, and by right things, man, like I could give you a list.
Things you don't control, that'd be a good place to sure focusing on.
And I think like, it's not even about like a list, like these are the most important things in your life. It's not even necessarily that, but I just
Mhm.
think that like when it comes to your relationship with God, like that is number one. And I think that when that is in its proper place, everything will end up God will help you align things, right? Seek ye first the kingdom of God, his righteousness, all these things shall be added unto you. And so keeping your focus and your perspective where it needs to be on the priority, which would be your relationship with God.
Yeah.
And you were talking about spending more time with him, probably on a consistent basis is probably what you were referring to. Like that's one thing that I've seen even recently because I've it's been a little bit it's not been the best. It's been a little bit on and off. I've a couple days I've had to like shift to like a later time and I've had to like do less for my devotion time. And just because you're busy and you're trying to balance stuff, you're adapting to your situation. And I think when it comes to that, like for me, it's like, yeah, but if I had the opportunity to be able to prioritize in my day, like if urgency is not what I'm dealing with right now, like
Mhm.
this is an urgent task, it's due at this time, I need to do it right now. If I'm not dealing with that, like I need to be prioritizing and I need to put Jesus as number one, especially when it comes to spending time with him, like in your devotions and stuff and prayer. I say that I say that I just think that things do fall into place that a lot of times we spend energy in things that don't matter. And then we get like distracted and frustrated when we don't get results. And I think some of that has to do with not having God in his proper place.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, I think the distractions is really what we're dealing with. So yeah, it's learning that balance. It's learning how to say, God, even though this is all important and you understand it and you've given it to me, right? And I appreciate all that, but I got to keep you first. That's something that I'm just thinking about as you were saying. Like I'm every day, like I'm having to literally make conscious decisions. Otherwise, my life will just it'll just overrun my decision making process like that. So
No, that makes sense.
yeah,
For me, it's more just consistency. It's like let's say you have a crazy day and a bunch of odd stuff happens, or you work super long and things are just different off rhythm. Like you still gotta have good time with God, still gotta pray, still gotta get in the Word, or like maybe in my case, health is worse, have less time to get stuff done, always like seeming like more and more behind than ever before. It's like, oh well, it's still gotta have your devotion, still gotta have your time with God, because like in Matthew it says, seek ye first the kingdom of God. That's priority. Seek him in what you do as well. It's not just devotions.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to look at my Bible reading, it's often not a ton of volume. It's not like I'm reading like all these chapters and it's just like so much time. It's more just like I'm very focused when I'm reading the Bible. I always get something out of it, try to take something away. And then sometimes my prayer life, when I'm having my one-on-one time with God, sometimes it's not like I'm praying for a very long time. Maybe it's just a couple minutes. But then like throughout my day, I'm trying to seek God in everything that I'm doing. I'm trying to put him first. I'm trying to live like he's watching. I'm trying to acknowledge him in everything I do, because there's a lot of things that aren't clear in life. There's a lot of things when it comes to what I'm doing in business or ministry or church or the pursuit of truth. There's a lot of things that aren't clear, and that's okay. That's the purpose of a relationship with God in the first place, right? For wisdom and guidance. So that it's been that as well. Just staying faithful in all those things that I just mentioned. That's something that I've learned. I feel good about it in a way, because I'm like, I'm not, my devotions, my walk with God isn't actually decreasing, where it's not getting worse. Like there's other things getting worse, but that hasn't gotten worse. So that's been really encouraging to me.
I think another way to see priority is literally intention, right?
Intentional, yeah.
Being intentional, making, opportunity for something. And I think, when it comes, let's just say, our relationship with God, like I can sit down and be like, okay, God, I'm gonna read these chapters, get these verses, say my prayer, and leave. And we can prioritize it in the sense of, yeah, like is the first thing I did today.
Check the box.
Check the box. No different than. Don't get me wrong. It's literally no different. If you're walking away from your devotion time and you're not meeting with God, like why are you doing it? Like it's no different than not meeting with Him, not opening your Bible in the first place,
In my
right?
Yeah.
Like the whole point is to walk away with something. So like being intentional with like the priority isn't just first. It's not just like, oh, this was first. It's like this was the most important thing. I actually put time and energy into. So
And
that like I get what you're busy and maybe you're like and maybe you don't even understand as much as you need to as far as learning and understanding the Bible and what that means to have a relationship with God and growing. But I think the more intentional you can be with it, the more that literally becomes a priority. Like as you put intent upon it. Um, and so yeah, I just think intent is another way of putting it. And like, it's not just enough to do it first. One thing that stuck in my mind was like, if I make an intention, like an intentional choice to do something,
yeah,
and I do that consistently, like that's literally the same thing as like prioritizing. Like it's another way of seeing it. Like it's not just enough to say first priority is, it's not just about time. Like it's actually about energy too. Like, yeah, and if I'm invested in something
yeah.
and then my focus flows there, and then I'm like, yeah, this is important. So kind of like seeing
Yeah, I like using focus, because it's
that.
not just about, okay, I'm gonna put God first in my day. Like I'm gonna wake up and talk to God and read my Bible, or I'm going to, in another way put him first. Like, yeah, like that's fine, but also it's like making sure that he's the number one focus.
Yeah.
So out of all the things in life that matter, out of all the things in life that you're focused on, he's got to be number one. He should be number one, because that's what's best for you. You're gonna have the best life that way. You're also going to be the best version of yourself that way. Version of you that's aligned with Christ.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the word focus too. I think that helps put it in a different perspective because there's so many things
Attention. Focus, attention.
because that's like we're in a battle right now for our attention. Like I genuinely believe in this, like now you people, we're in a battle like for your attention. And the devil knows it. Like, don't get me wrong. I love social media. I genuinely do. I think that it's an incredible tool to influence
Yeah.
this generation, this culture. I believe that's what it's set up for. I believe that, just the way the algorithm is. But I say that to say yes, it's also got negative to it, and I think that some of it there actually are a lot of negatives, but there some of the negative is the distracting aspect of it, where it's, you spend too much time on it, you get caught in a cycle of just scrolling, right? So I said to say, like, that's really what the battle is for, is like, "God, I'm going to literally focus on you, and, I'm gonna block everything else out." Not just put you first in the sense of my time and my schedule. I'm gonna literally focus in and block everything else out. And, yeah, even throughout your day, like, being willing to acknowledge him, put him first in the decision, like, "Hey, this is a big decision, actually, like, I need to know how to respond in this situation, like, God, I'm gonna acknowledge you," you know? So, I think that's a really good way of putting it, is focus, for sure. Um,
Yeah.
so
Well, I think that people often, you hear, well, time is the most valuable resource or asset. But I think it makes sense. I think it's attention. It's not time, because you could spend time on something. You could have time with God, but if your attention
yeah,
isn't actually on God and you're thinking about some chick, or you're thinking about some sport game, or you're thinking about some other thing while you're spending time with God, yeah, you're spending the time. Maybe you spend half hour with God, but where is your mind?
yeah,
Where is your attention? Where is your focus? Is it on God, or is it on other things? Does that make sense?
yes.
So I guess to me, when I heard that, I'm like, okay, that's important. And it's like a little sobering, because you're like, it actually doesn't necessarily matter how much time I put towards things. Yeah. It's more important, my attention and my focus. Because you could work for 90 minutes on a project. That's cool. But are you locked in? Are you focused? Is your attention there? All of your attention there, you dedicated towards that thing, that task? Or are you thinking about, man, I can't wait till this is over. Like, what's for dinner? Or, man, I can't wait for this other thing. Or let me go on my phone and scroll social media or something. Right? Like, you're set splitting that focus and attention. That's not ideal. You're not going to be as effective.
Yeah, for sure. Like, literally
Just a thought.
literally, like, just thinking about that, like, there's been days where I've just my schedule, and it's not an excuse, but it just is what happened, right? Um, I've spent, like, just a minute or 2, literally, in prayer,
God, yeah.
like, "God, I'm so sorry I couldn't spend time with you. I'm sorry that I didn't prioritize it," right? Or it's reading a verse, right? I have an app on my phone, gives me the verse of the day.
Reeves,
Like, there's literally times where I'm like, I didn't prioritize it. Okay, let me literally go in the bathroom. Let me go take a second. Let me just spend a minute or 2. And I said to say, like, there's been times where I've literally met with God in a real way in that minute or 2.
where it was short.
Whereas there's been other times where I've spent more time with him, but I was tired. I wasn't focused, and I was like, I can get up and I'm like, I didn't really get as much
Yeah.
from that time. So I said to say, like, it's right in line with what you said. It literally happened this week. Like, there was one day that I'm thinking of. I was like, didn't get to spend time with God in the morning. Didn't happen. Like, I would say late in the evening, maybe a few hours before bed, I was like, I gotta spend time with him real quick. And was amazing. Like, he literally gave me the rough draft to a sermon I'm gonna preach. I was like pumped, you know. That was really, really cool. That doesn't normally happen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's a great takeaway from.
but just like my focus, I was like desperate in that moment. I was like, I did not meet with God, and I actually need him because I was feeling really weak and everything.
Mhm.
And I just was like really intentional. So that was the difference, I
Yeah,
think.
that's good.
So
Yeah, I would say that's a great takeaway from the podcast, being more intentional with our time with God,
yeah,
being able to focus more on Him throughout the day, and being able to put our attention and focus on Him when we're having our time with Him, our devotions, our Bible reading and prayer, and then also throughout the day, making sure that we're focusing on the right things. Our attention is going to the right things, and we're seeking Him first in everything that we do. I'll say this too. I'm very excited for the conference that
yeah,
we're going to in Kentucky.
yeah,
The youth group, me, you, and Dad and John, and the teens, couple other people that aren't necessarily part of the youth group. We're a bunch of young men down there for this teen conference. I'm excited. I'm hoping to learn some things. I'm hoping that me and you can have some takeaways and some really good conversations based on what happens there. And I've been praying that God would prepare our hearts and that it will lead change. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. So anything else you wanted to say or discuss real quick here?
I think that's good. That's a what we discussed, I think is important. But those are good takeaways, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have really lost about it.
Good stuff. Well, we'll definitely do this again. I feel like we didn't quite have as much time as you normally wanted to. Basically, just talk about what's new with us, what God's been teaching us, what we've been learning, and yeah, that's all we really needed to. It's interesting. We didn't really talk about too much else, so that's kind of cool. That there's enough things that God's teaching us, so that we can have a whole podcast about it. At least we're learning something in life, right?
Yeah,
So that's encouraging. And we'll definitely do another one of these in the next couple weeks. I think we have a couple other things we could talk about. So
for sure.
good stuff.
Sounds good. All right.
Awesome.